little bit about potential with prolapse diagnosis. I've had a lot of DMs about prolapse lately, not only symptoms in pregnancy, but then also moms that are having, third, fourth, fifth kid, never had these symptoms before, and then noticing pelvic heaviness, pressure, that tampon dangling feeling. And it's scary. I think of all the pelvic floor diagnoses that you Google, prolapse is the one that probably you shouldn't. I think leakage people kind of get, and so they don't look it up. And that's the one I think everybody's like, oh, that's just something that happens, but prolapse really freaks people out. I think the thing that's most important to know about prolapse is there's still a lot that we don't know. And some people see that as, oh no, that's bad. I see it as great because we treat it so much better than we did, when I started doing this 25 years ago. And so the first important thing to know is that your symptoms and your anatomical severity of prolapse can be completely different, meaning that you may have a lot of symptoms, but no significant anatomical prolapse. You might have a decent anatomical prolapse, but no symptoms. And as far as postpartum goes, you can get anatomical changes up to a year afterwards. But this is the best part, and this is what I kind of wanted to talk about now, was that I get DMs saying, gosh, I'm hopeless. Is this not going to be, do I need to say goodbye to running? Do I need to mourn its loss? And the fact of the matter is we don't know. Especially prolapse in the context of other pelvic floor issues, avulsion. We still don't have great treatments for that, or prognosis, to be honest. And so when I have somebody that asks and they haven't done anything yet, I'm like, this is great because there's a lot of options that we can choose from. And even if you have seen somebody for prolapse and your symptoms haven't changed, I like to go through that and see what's been done. Is the stuff that you were doing stuff that we would have done 15, 20 years ago? So there's a lot of room to update. Or have you worked with somebody who's really up to date on, current treatment and progression back to exercise and things like that? So either way, there's a lot of potential to get improvement. And the fact of the matter is, as an N of 1, meaning I don't know how far you can go, we just go as far as we can and see if we can push it. And I think as long as we have a nice collaborative partnership with that person and there's clear guardrails that say, hey, we're not going to kick up symptoms more than a 1 or 2 out of 10, but we're going to be really methodical about this. Because if there's one thing I know, it's when you crash and burn into all of a sudden massive symptoms that you've never had before, they're worse than they've ever been. It's traumatic, and we don't want to add trauma to the table here. So if you're navigating prolapse and you Google it, don't. If you haven't yet, don't. But if you've had treatment and you feel like you've kind of maxed out or you haven't gotten anywhere, definitely reach out to a different therapist. There can be lots of room for improvement, especially when it comes to returning to workouts and returning to running and things like that. So it's not hopeless. And I guess that's kind of the summary that I wanted to leave you with is we don't know how far you can get, but I see that as a very kind of hopeful, positive sort of thing. So let's see what happens. Share with me kind of your experiences with your prolapse symptoms, kind of what you've done to navigate it, what's worked, what hasn't. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel like, hey, I found a breakthrough and I have somebody that I worked with that was awesome? Let me know. We'd love to hear those stories.